Oh look, it's me videoing you, videoing me, videoing you.
It's glass.
We dream, we live this life.
What?
Piece in our tiny piece in our mind.
Oh, piss. Piss in my mind. When singers go wrong.
You think your guitar sounds changed because you got a new guitar recently, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, all the demos were done on my old guitar, and
Which was a
Yamaha SG500,
okay.
which I loved. I swapped it after a gig one night for a guy who wanted a Strat, and I hated my Strat. My guitar sound has now it has changed slightly, I guess. It's now I've got a cleaner sound now. I think it sounds angrier when you hit a power chord with a sound that's slightly cleaner. If you can make it sound angry, it's because you're angry, rather than covering distortion or whatever.
What new guitar did you pick up?
Well, it's not new. It's ancient. It's a 1984 model of a Yamaha SG1000N.
Quite a neat colour, actually.
It's very, very nice. Midnight. I think it's midnight blue. We call it.
You have used a twin neck on the album, haven't you, as well?
Yes, I got a twin neck for my 40th from Fiona, which was unplayable. It had never been set up properly, and I mean, you know yourself, you took it off to your dad, who is a genius when it comes to guitar setups and everything, and he did some rewiring and did some setting up for me, and it's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. So I mean, I used a tiny amount on the first album, but I couldn't play it for more than 30 seconds. Whereas I think now I could probably do half a gig.
Yeah.
With the guitar before it just got too heavy.
That would be easy for us because we don't do any gigs.
Oh yeah. Did we mention that?
Oh dear.
But yeah, I'm always thinking ahead. I mean, if we were playing gigs, yeah, there would be songs that I'd be playing it on exclusively. I haven't used it on Emperor's Fallen. The only song that I'm using it on is part of the Halo trilogy.
Is that Get Up?
Get Up and some of the verse parts of Angels, which I'm really looking forward to redoing. I mean, I've demoed other guitars, but I am looking forward to replacing them.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting much more comfortable playing on a tighter neck again. It's really nice.
So before we get to the trilogy, we've got Cat and Mouse.
Cat and Mouse.
Well, and I was just going to add, ironically, I think I found that demo on a mini disc from the 80s, maybe. Was it from the 80s or the 90s?
I wrote that. The piece of music was written 99, probably 99.
Yeah.
And I took it to Mind Gone Blind. Again, the keyboard hook I was playing on the guitar. It was a second guitar hook, and we did. I don't think we ever gigged it.
It's a very bouncy piece again.
Yeah, and
a very current subject as well. Despite the age of the song, we've updated it, and it's about internet dating, isn't it?
it's about internet dating. Yes, you wrote the lyric.
Well, with
So
a,
I mean, I don't know.
I think I've taken some of your melody and moulded it in there, and
Well, yeah, there was this melody, but you basically rewrote the melody and got your own lyrics, so it's got its own phrasing, and it's really funny. It's a really funny take on something that, as the album pans out, turns out to be rather serious. It's very tongue-in-cheek.
it's the climax for. It sort of leads us into the trilogy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which I'll let you talk through.
But Cat and Mouse is just the dangers. of hooking up with a nutter. I've even managed to get you to swear on this one, which is nice.
I like there's a little insert at the beginning which is rather amusing, but
Yeah.
we'll let you enjoy that in your own time.
Yeah, it was fun searching for that. I went through so many internet phone calls trying to find that one piece that I wanted, and
Do you think we'll have to credit them for the copyright?
hell, no.
No.
Is the answer to that? No, because I edited it.
Okay.
Obviously. So there's no names.
We could get them on stage and they could... Oh no, we don't go on stage.
That's right, we don't do.
Oh gee.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, that sort of very bouncy, very commercial track that sort of falls away sharply. Song goes to a minor chord.
We did our research, we watched Catfish.
And yeah, and I was looking through my old CSE music. If you wanted to make it sound sad, you use a minor chord.
And sing like Morrissey.
Yes.
But maybe not.
Yeah, so yeah, it fades away into this thing that we're calling the Halo trilogy just now.
Is it about a computer game where you're in some armour in space?
Yes.
It's not, is it?
No.
Okay.
The Halo trilogy is, well, you sent me this song, this 2-minute thing, scratchy thing called Halo. It was basically about this guy sitting on the edge of his bed in a bed sit, with a gun in his hand, and he blows himself away. But he's such a bloody loser that he manages to conspire to miss parts of his brain that he probably should have finished the job doing, and he survives. And the demo that you sent me was 2 acoustic guitars.
Badly played.
Well, one was, well, they were both out of tune, and they were both out of time. And every so often, they sort of crossed each other and made this really, really cool sound, and I thought, I like that. And I took that one or 2 crossover points, and I took that away and I built up this thing with my guitar and a delay, and it sounded great. I really, really enjoyed playing it, and it very moody.
Contrast to the rest of the album.
Yeah, very, very, very moody and slow. And I remember chopping your lyric and putting it through a noise gate so that it would take away your guitars and superimpose your voice on top of it. And I remember emailing it to you, and the reply was one word, it was epic. And I got a reply within 5 minutes of sending you the email, and I thought, right, I want a winner. This one's brilliant. And so yeah, they've got this guy who sits on the edge of his bed and decides he's going to kill himself, and he fails. I didn't know where I was going with it, and I was jamming along with this guitar sound, this synthy kind of guitar sounded like a sitar. Yeah, a cross between a sitar and a lute or something like that. And I was playing this little riff that I'd written years ago. We were done in the late 90s. Yeah, late 90s. And I thought, oh, I was just jamming this riff at the top of my neck, and I thought, I suddenly remembered that this piece of music I'd written using the riff, really Zeppelin-esque sort of thing. I thought, I wonder if I could join that. And I did, that's what I did next. I joined it and wrote this sort of intermediate piece, a lyric called Angels, and it's this if you imagine lying on a stretcher, getting whisked through the corners of this one, and you've got the ceilings, and you've got the stark ceilings and strobe lighting or strip lighting, and these green walls, and this vague sort of notion of being pushed through there, and that's how the lyric starts. It's very descriptive. It isn't personal.
As we can only imagine how he felt.
Yes. I do remember. I've been post-op being wheeled through and being semi-conscious, and so I know that feels like. But it's basically this: the guy suddenly finds himself in a half dream-like sort of state where he isn't dead, but he doesn't know any of the people around about him, and something triggers in his brain to make him think, no, I'm going to live, and he can't decide whether it's a nurse or whether it's a doctor or whether it's a random visitor has come along and sort of stood beside his bed, and he's sort of thought, yeah, these beautiful strangers are helping me, and if they think I'm worth it, maybe I should think I'm worth it. And it's musically, it's got Zeppelin in there. It sounds like places. It sounds like ELO. It goes into this crazy little sort of step down. It's very Beatlesque, and I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's one of my favourites.
I can't really describe it. It's got crazy Hammond organ going on in it.
It really has, actually. John Lord would be relishing it right now, I think.
Yeah, well, maybe relishing it once he stopped turning his
yeah. Maybe he is that angel.
Maybe it was. Yeah. So yeah, that's very psychedelic, very late 60s, early 70s, great sounding, great feel. And at the end of the song, it goes into this other piece of music that I had lying about for a while, which is almost exclusive on the double neck and the 12 string, and it's a stomp. It's bass drum on the third the bass drum on the second and fourth beat until everything else kicks in, and it's like having John Bonham in the room with you.
Whistle solo.
A whistle solo in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Come on, Roger.
Yeah, you can do it. Leave old Durham town alone.
Going to down.
And yeah, it's really upbeat. It's a really, really upbeat piece of music, and stomps along in a true, probably mid-70s sort of fashion. The kind of sound that British bands make when they're trying to be American.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, off the back of this, having heard the three pieces, then I went and wrote a wee book, well, more of a short story. I wrote it probably in one day, and we're going to put it out as a companion piece. But when we do the opposite side of this interview, we can talk about that.
Yes.
When
I can think of some questions.
When you can think, but it's very much part of the whole process and part of the creative process. Anyway, carry on.
Title track closes the album.
Precious Empires.
Precious Empires. We discussed that name for that album while we were still doing the writing.
Yeah, over cake.
R2D2, yeah. And it basically was because we've all been in situations where we think people are helping us, and really they're just helping themselves. They're building this little cocoon around themselves, cocoon of self-importance, their own little precious empire to defend. And yeah, you wrote the first couple of verses and the chorus. It was upbeat. Again, I slowed it right down, stripped away everything and just left the acoustic guitar and your voice, and the song slowly builds. Piano coming in and the offbeat, really quite Floydy, and unashamedly so. And it sort of builds and builds and builds, and this very simple frame. The song's framed very simply, and it builds and builds and builds, and then it comes to a point where it just goes off in a totally different angle again. It's becomes heavy. It's got this guitar solo that, again, you're singing over the top of it, but that's good because
Sorry.
because I can. The guitar solo actually makes more sense because I was big gaps. I was doing a phrase and leaving a gap, and all of a sudden there's a vocal in that gap, so that's fine. And again,
It's one of our finest moments, I have to say, without being pretentious.
I think if heaven forbid, if something happened tomorrow and I could never write another piece of music again, I'd be happy with this. This is a fantastic piece of music by any stretch of the imagination. I don't like blowing my own trumpet, but this is.
It's a big trumpet. The words are very introspective and act as a summary to the whole album. I am a Beatle, crushed but now return.
Yeah.
For me, it was very emotional to sing. But certain lyrics in it rip shreds out of people that we've met in the past as well.
Yep.
And I think probably I would say the whole album does a bit of that.
Yeah.
So a lot of anger, but a lot of empathy as well, and emotion and happiness as well.
Yeah, and I mean the third verse, just before it goes into this big guitar solo, is probably the most personal lyric I've ever written in my life.
Definitely. It's very.
I do like the fact that we can both write stuff that we can put together into one piece.
It's very bizarre how it works, yeah.
And I mean, without giving away the backstory of the album, as soon as we started speaking about the album being a fictional piece, having a lead character in it, it made it much easier to write lyrics, because you're writing things that you might never ever say to somebody, and but it's okay because it's him that's saying it, it's him that's feeling it, and then that sort of removes the guilt a bit, and removes the embarrassment factor, because there is some of it is quite.
I think opening doors to places that you don't often, but without giving too much away, also with both our jobs, we see quite a lot of life's, good and bad. We've seen so we've got a lot of ammunition to put into this.
Yeah.
So as well as our own personal thoughts and tribulations, what have you.
Definitely. I mean, but in the album, it's a very, even though we are taking lumps out of ourselves, we're taking lumps out of other people in this as well. It ends in a very, 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 very positive mood. It's
I think
something to be proud of. I think.
I would hope it's kind of a bit ironic, isn't it? It's precious empires. We've all got them, but we've kind of been quite precious about this empire as well.
Yeah. One of the reasons that I've kind of been taking my time recording guitars on it is because
you've been precious and enjoying it.
Enjoying it. I mean, I sit down and listen to demos, and I think, well, put it out the way it is.
Well, you had talked about doing it all acoustic leads, just stripping it back at one point.
I mean, part of me is thinking, well, I'll just say sod it and say those guitar bits are fine. When I mean they've been badly recorded and they aren't sounding very good, but the feel's there, and I am worried about getting the same feel when I start recording for real. But I'll see how it goes. I mean, every album has had demo. I have left demo guitars on every album. I just haven't told anybody where they are.
Well, I mean, it sounds. I've listened to the demos a lot, and to me they sound great as it is. But I know the finished thing is going to be even better. So, on a limited budget, as I hasten to add, because we're not signed or anything.
No, it's a budget of zero.
Yes.
To be honest, it's a budget of zero. Maybe a couple of packs of guitar strings, couple
Few
of quid.
cakes.
Yeah, cakes. Couple of quid for the electric meter. Yeah, I mean it's, you know, the downside of recording like this is that we can only do it on days off.
Mm-hmm.
You can only do it on days off when you're in the mood to do it. You know, whereas if we had an advance from someone and we could afford to go to a studio, yeah, we could have this thing finished in a week.
God, easy, aye.
But yeah, hence the reason why it takes so long. It takes so long because it has to be fitted in with real life, and I think it's better for it. You know,
There's more.
it hasn't got expensive production values, but so so you know, you listen to classic albums from the 70s that were recorded in 11 hours. You know.
On a 4-track, or
Yeah,
if you were lucky.
sometimes not even that, and they still stand up to the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So we haven't thought any further than this, but we've got a sort of backup idea that we've been thinking about, haven't we?
Yes.
But other than that, who knows what the road will lead us to? Yeah.
Yeah. The next part of this, the priority now is getting this finished, getting it released, clearing our minds of it, because my head's absolutely full of tunes and mix ideas and stuff like that. But after that, it's research time. You know, we are going to do probably a 3-track EP, which sort of delves back into the history of our fictional character from this album, but don't want to speak too much about it because I'm going to have to do a lot of reading and probably spend loads of time in my wee room with my guitar and my keyboards coming up with sounds that are relevant. And
So we brush it under the carpet then.
we'll brush it under the carpet till
So,
autumn.
So Calum Jamieson, thank you very much for taking the time out to record this, and goodbye.
Ciao.